There are different values, in our country, and most of the values which come from an area of religion and spirituality. What do happen with the most of the families? For example, a family which live in the society, the child from the early age is introduced to all prayers and rituals, so, and the stories and everything. So the child is already involved from day one onwards, participating in these activities. Second thing, when we look at the child who is coming from a disadvantaged or less privileged background, the living pressure has taken all the prayers routines out of the family living. We see most of the people on street, they end up begging in religious structures, and if we just check who these people are, we always find the same community people sit in the structures. Example, the Catholics sit in front of a church, Hindus in front of a temple, Muslims in front of a mosque. What happened in this process of begging? The child is getting a clear definition of spirituality. My religion or my faith is giving me the daily bread through begging. So what happened? A lot of this practice of which come from religion and even reading scriptures and stories are not even told to the child. So there is a big gap of information which they have. So example, most of the children they love all the festivals, and children on the street, they very much are into action during the festival time, because that is the time they can make more money through begging. So there is the same festival is seen by two different group of children differently. So to bridge this gap, something which we have to do in the school system again is to bring more holistic learning of the spirituality. There is a difference, because a lot of schools do teach moral science stories which are more of animal based. So we have a lot of fables and tales which come with a lot of stories of animals, which most of the children love it, they enjoy it, but as far as the application of that story is concerned, it is for animals. I am not an animal, I am a human being. So child love the story, but they don't practice it. So they love the morals, but they know, because that morals question is going to be asked in the so-called moral science test. So that is the end of the applicability. But when we look back to the on scriptures, our country doesn't have any shortage for scriptures. But if we look really deep into the scriptures and take the real story, where fortunate thing in most of the scriptures, the gods and everything have taken human forms, so the child can relate. And plenty of this human gods had a good childhood. For example, Jesus had a good childhood. Ganpati is child. There is Sri Krishna Jayanti is there. Children are loving this. So what is happening? Because we are celebrating that childhood of these gods. When we celebrate, the children are a party in this program. It's a good opportunity to start the lessons on these and develop, because most of these gods all have shown what is unconditional love, what is forgiveness, what is sacrifice, what is even being kind to people, helping people. Absence of these values are creating a big vacuum in child's life. And when we use these stories, because it can be related, so we found a lot of these nice stories do make an impact on later years, because what we see when we do all the studies on how the families break in cities, there is a shortage of values, there is a shortage of ethics, which all good faith. What is happening is that because most of these families, especially the children who live in the street, have seen a family is a activity of 5 years. The lifespan of a family on street is 5, because within 5 years they normally see a family or two people get married, produce children, and abuse and separate. So the term family is seen as an activity for 5 years. So if we want this family to go beyond 5 years, then certain dynamics in the family like unconditional love, kindness, sacrifice, which people do take granted when they are in a family, again need to be brought back to the community, and it mostly we have to do it as a relearning program. We should not call it a learning program. There is a learning which is happening, but children from risk background or even children coming from street background, all the lessons need to be planned in a way which is a relearning program, where they also can understand what is the meaning of, for example, being kind, because the difference of meaning which create this word kind is different for children coming from all type of backgrounds. A child coming from a war zone may define maybe kindness as just escaping death. A child coming from street maybe define the kind, maybe somebody giving them a food. A child may be a good family, may being kind, maybe the parents giving him 1000 rupees. So there has to be a space where child can go through what is the meaning of kind. So many of these things, kind, sacrifice, forgiveness, all need to be practiced, not just to be told. Then only this make a big deeper impact in the society, and education can bring these changes to children. This become a very long term, will give them a long term support. As we say in our olden days, the man making education has to be something which gives child the foundation now.